Because it's Baku, I can already see a couple of very interesting predictions in the chat right now. Well, there's plenty of different contenders to win today, with a couple of new drivers for PC F1 as well for the season. And today's Ero Pc F1 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which starts about now. My name is Wojciech Śmigowski. I am the owner and commentator of Ero Pc F1 TE in European Racing Organizations Season 9. That being said, welcome to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We've got 19 drivers on the grid today. These unfortunately do not include Tonwich or Ryan Grob, who are probably the only options of chasing Drake in the Drivers' Championship this season. However, Drake's gap is already 65 points, so what we are mainly looking for is an entertaining race. Because if Drake wins today, and maybe even next week, I think we can say that the championship is basically on his hands very, very shortly, as he only missed a podium once this season. Also, Drake happened to get disconnected from the session. I hope he'll be rejoining sooner than later. With that being said, Ryan Grob is unfortunately missing next couple of races, and he will not partake in Ero Pc F1 for the next couple of weeks. He should be back for the ending stages of the season, as we are in Baku, the capital city of Azerbaijan. As you can see, we've got 19 drivers on the grid today, plenty of interesting names. Of course, these include most of the full-time drivers, but also Harry Wales in the Mercedes as a reserve. There's also Eric Jemianchuk, who will be replacing Ryan Grob for the next couple of races. We've also got Joe Fegali in the AlphaTauri, and alongside him comes back Sami Nakle to the racing in ERO. Continuing, because we know the top 3 of the championship, which is basically Drake miles ahead of Tony Ritchie, who has got 93 points as of now. 85 has got Ryan Grob. Then we've got Arjan Bilbas with 64, Tim Bayer 55, Jonathan Foss not racing today 47, Luke Mills 42, Quil Pavlakovic 38, Cameron Dowd 26, and Jack Harrington 19. That is the top 10 of ERO season so far, and we can't wait for more action this season. As first drivers are already coming out on laps, I wonder if there's any rain predicted for today's Grand Prix, because it isn't the most likely event in Azerbaijan. For example, you can get rain more often in circuits like Belgium or Japan or anywhere in Europe rather than in Baku. However, it's not an impossible thing, as you can see. There is clouds everywhere, and there is a chance for rain today. We may as well ask drivers in the PC F1 chat if this is actually the case. As going back through the historical Ero events, we are currently in the Castle section, which has seen plenty of crashes in real Formula 1, involving Robert Kubica in 2019 qualifying first session, and more notably Charles Leclerc in the second qualifying session of that same year. However, Ero has also got interesting events, such as Umutasis in Season 7 of Ero Pc F1, basically making 7 cars stuck during the race in that season. Also, we've got some dramatic action with PSF3 division yesterday, which only had 6 drivers finishing out of 15, and a side-by-side finish between Varga and Goering. The gap was only 5 milliseconds, as the first drivers to come out on the lap are McGinty and Pavlakovic. Racing in the Williams today, promising PCF2 reserve driver Lucas McGinty, actually full-time driver in the Red Bull for PCF2, but PCF1, he's a reserve. He's got already 15 points and a 6th place finish last week in the US. So that is very, very promising for this driver, who may be looking for PCF1 seat in Season 10. Maybe even with no assists, that tier would be. As you might know, the only assist allowed is a racing line in PCF1. The PSF1 tier allows absolutely none of them. As Lucas McGinty currently goes through the castle section, you can see, with his teammate Quil Pavlakovic right behind him. We'll see what will be the benchmark for Sector 2, as I have been confirmed that there is no rain predicted for today's race, unfortunately. I don't remember any Baku race with rain conditions in PCF1 tier. However, we got some of these conditions yesterday in PSF3, for example. Lucas Magentia, of course, purple sector too, and I did not see what the lap time was at that time. As we're approaching the main straight of Baku City Circuit, also seeing plenty of dramatic action from 2021 involving Lance Stroll and Max Verstappen's tire punctures. Lucas Magentia sets a 39.6, and this is the first lap of this afternoon, as Kul Pavlakovic, as usual, has done a lap without using any ERS. This is his tactics for the qualifying session, as Kul Pavlakovic does not use any ERS in the first laps of the qualifying he does, and probably also uses a lot of fuel, just to maybe get some more practice before the proper racing starts. Something like this, it's possible. As Drake Dempsey is 3/10 off Arjan Bilbas. That is very interesting. Arjan Bilbas being showing us a hot lap around Azerbaijan. Not his personal best, but definitely very decent. I remember it was 38.5, but you would have to correct me in the chat at any point. Anyway, Arjan Bilbas feels very, very confident on this track, which he also declares to be one of the only chances for him to maybe even win a race this season. Something that hasn't happened to him since the days of his debut season, which was Season 7, where he finished in the second place in the Drivers' Championship. Unfortunately, no wins in Season 8 and no wins in Season 9 so far, but he's got 3 podiums already, 2 second places and 1 third. Apart from that, it wasn't great, as he DNF'd in Spain in a famous fashion of misjudging the pit lane entry, which I also had to mention, as Kul Pavlakovic is about to cross the line now. Niemczyk is already out in the castle section, which is very interesting for the Polish driver, who is going to start at the back of the grid, as Kul Pavlakovic makes it another lap, and this time he's 4/10 was. The Ferrari reserve driver for today is Quentin Hesch, as he's currently approaching the castle section with a destroyed Niemczyk's car. Not the greatest start for the RP driver to the season. Also, I think that was a bit of a track extension, but the game does not invalidate it, as Hesch is approaching now the famous turn 15. Yet another one. I think plenty of drivers bending it into the wall. Same as Fraser Robertson. Robertson is out of the qualifying as well. The driver who's lost 1 millisecond to Marvin Moore, and also a new PCF2 commentator, is out of qualifying already and will not improve his lap time. It was just 1 millisecond slower than from the Haas driver. However, he's not going to improve it, and he's not going to outscore him, as Quentin Hesch is probably approaching the pit lane. No, he's not. He's going to finish the lap with 39.3, and that's a Ferrari front row lockout. Nearly as in 2021 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, with Charles Leclerc being on pole position. I don't remember the exact position of Carlos Sainz. However, Leclerc on pole was actually something that was very happy news. Actually, for me as a man who supports Ferrari in the sport. Ferry Armina goes second fastest. Thomas Krart is third with 39.2. These gaps are really, really close around Baku, and not everyone has made the best lap they could do just yet. For example, Justin Chevalier has got no lap time on board. However, he's approaching Sector 3, 16.1 is his current lap time. George Parr, the last driver who we're missing, has actually joined the session and is going to race in the last Mercedes seat, as Justin Chevalier is about to complete his lap, I believe. Normal drivers are ahead of him, as Justin crosses the line now, 40.0, placing him on position number 11. As looking for more drivers across the line now, one of them is Sami Nakla, who's joining back Ero after like 8 races of break, as he's just approaching the first corner of Season 9 for him, and qualifying. As we've officially got a full grid with George Parr joining us today. I genuinely thought we were having an unreported absence, but it's all been explained, and George can actually race today with us in the top PC tier of Ero. As we're watching Sami Naklep setting up a purple sector, 34.8. This for him. As we're approaching the castle section. Very challenging corner. Very hard to find that ideal braking point. However, goes swiftly Sami Naklep throughout the chicane. This complex of corners. Probably one of the most challenging ones in the entire Formula 1 calendar, as there's more yellow flags, and these include the ones in Sector 2. And that should be either Lutejski or more just chilling after turn 15. However, no problems around there, as Sami Naklep may be going for pole position, at least provisionally, because he's over a second ahead of Justin Chevalier for comparison. The AlphaTauri driver is just about approaching the DRS straight. And with Marvin possibly. Wow, that is 38.6 from Sami Naklep. And that places him in provisional pole position as of now. Massive, massive lap from the AlphaTauri driver. How about Joe Fegali, because he's also approaching the his start of the lap. The straight line speeds approaching nearly 350 km per hour with low downforce setups are also playing a factor here. I wonder if it was the setups for the straight line speed rather than the corners, with McLaren drivers setting up very high top speeds. As Joe Fegali locks up in actually every corner, but these lockups are actually working very well for him, not losing any time. He's 4 tenths down on Sami's lap time. However, we still have to mind that there is a Sector 2 ahead of him. You can see how close it is between these two drivers. Also, this corner is actually legendary already, with Keanu Van from PSF4 tier crashing into the wall during the qualifying session whilst the commentators were watching Ennis Ferry on his lap. Keanu managed to finish the lap back then, but the sound of him hitting the wall was definitely very scary. We'll see what is going to be the lap time of Joe Fegali in Sector 2, because he's definitely approaching 16s. Very, very low 116 for Joe. Two of the Lebanese drivers on the top spots of the grid. I don't think so with Joe Fegali being over a second behind Sami, but Drake Dempsey sets up a lap time just a tenth slower than Sami in the meantime. Joe Fegali approaches the finish, the checkered flag now of the qualifying, not the checkered flag, but he gets a 40.0, placing him on position number 12. As next drivers on the lap times are, for example, Harwales, who's currently doing a 35.6 tenths faster than his previous lap, 2 tenths slower than Joe Fegali for comparison, so definitely needs to find some more speed, for example, in Sector 2, as Lutejski places himself on position number 15. Tim Bayer, meanwhile, goes third with 39.0. He's the one who's carrying mainly McLaren's in the Constructors' Championship, which the McLarens have set a goal to win the season, as Ryan Grubb is with us in the chat. Hello! And hope you're enjoying the race from the stands. Yes, Nilsson with Power are the only ones not to set a lap time. Of course, excluding Niemczyk, but Niemczyk is out of the qualifying already and will not make any more laps. Actually, he will not make any laps this weekend, as Harwales 2 tenths up in his lap time, 40.9. Not going flat out throughout the final couple of corners, as he's now approaching the DRS, and I think he's approaching the pit lane. There's a chance for it, and it is actually true. Well, you still have Eric Dziemianczuk racing, and he's got potential to score a couple of points, although he failed to score any neither PCF2 or PCF1 so far. However, he's got that speed, and he can essentially make it. It's not impossible for him. Looking for more drivers on laps. For example, Quentin Hesche in the meantime made a 38.9, placing him on position number 3. Tim Bayer, well, he hasn't made any laps in the meantime, but Ferry Wagner is on 1, I believe. Although he's losing 4 tenths compared to sector 1, to his previous lap time. Maybe somewhere in the sector 2 where he's losing quite a lot. As he's struggling to get the car going on the exit of turn 12, that is. Approaching turn 15 very, very closely to the wall, maybe even touching a couple of times. As I've seen Chevalier going 8th on the timesheets. As Luke Mills is the next one to cross the line now, placing himself nowhere. He's just starting a lap, probably. As Drake Dempsey's teammate may be vital for the championship constructors battle. But Ferry is likely to go to the pit lane with no improvement to his lap, being on the side. We watch Luke Mills in the meantime, as the Red Bull driver has got 2 third places in the last 2 weeks in North America. And he looks for more with the recent great performance of the Red Bull driver. Snackle is on yet another lap as well. However, speaking about Luke Mills, he's backed out of his lap. Or something must have happened. Well, he's getting all of the ERS in the world. That's what happened. This is what happened. Snackler is 2 tenths up on his lap time. Drake Dempsey needs to hurry up in order to maybe even have a chance to get a pole position. As Sami is about to complete his lap with maybe even 38.4. So we'll see if what is going to be the benchmark for example, Drake Dempsey in the final minutes of this qualifying gets a 38.3. Sami Nakla, well, very, very instantly putting some great results right after the qualifying is over. Right after he joined Ero for Season 9. As Drake Dempsey, you can see him burning fuel. This is now or never for the Alfa Romeo driver. Although he's very confident in the championship standings, he needs this bit more of a gap if he wants to secure the Season 9 championship trophy. Do I think Sami will win this race? Well, qualifying pace is great, but race pace may be another story. Although Sami Nakla has got 1 or 2 podiums in Season 8, that needs verifying. But he's been there fighting at the top of Ero League Racing. Just making sure he's got 10th place in the championship, joining the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, which was round 8. And got a singular podium and 2 pole positions. One of them was in the podium he got in Canada. As Drake Dempsey, you can see him using all of the fuel in the world to just make sure he's finishing the lap, but have it as little as possible. Thomas Grout is approaching the sector 2 line, but we'll be looking for drivers who are ending the laps, and one of them is not definitely Eric Jimenchuk, who's going to the pit lane for whatever reason. He's happy to stay in 10th, but he's going to lose time and he's not going to make any more laps, so Drake Dempsey starts one now, as Jimenchuk already decided that it's the end of his qualifying. Pavlakovic has gone 10th with the 9.6. Looking forward, Quentin Hesche is about to cross the line, but this is for his lap to start. One of the Red Bulls is Hugo Nilsson, but Nilsson stays in the pits. He's not doing any qualifying laps. Same applies to George Parr, as Luke Mills goes 10th with 39.5. This is the end of the qualifying. Luke Mills lets pass one of the Alfa Romeos. That is Ferry Wagner. Looking for drivers about to cross the line. One of them is Har Wales. 2 tenths up in his lap time, I believe. And this time he actually finished the lap, but it still makes him 17th. McGinty goes 5th. Promising PC F1 reserve, as you can see, as Thomas Grout, goes 4th fastest. Drake Dempsey's out again in qualifying session. Same as last year in Baku, he's out again. This time, it's on the exit of turn 12, and he's not going to take a pole position. That is unusual circumstances for Drake Dempsey, who's out of the qualifying in Baku again for the 2nd time running. Team Bayer is about to cross the line now, as Lutinsky is right behind him. Team Bayer goes 3rd fastest, missing out only by 9 milliseconds from the front row, as this is now Quentin Hesh. Arjen Bilbas is currently 4th in the standings, however Quentin may go for it, may go for even better lap time at the dying stages of this session. Only ones to make a lap are Ferry Wagner, because it's actually Ferry Wagner, because Luke Mills has already done his one. Quentin Hesh about to cross the line, and it's going to be exactly 1:38.8. With Quentin Heshe being placed on 4th in the grid, Ferry Wagner may only outscore him. He does not. However, this session is actually very, very close, with drivers being from 2nd to 13th within a second. Most retires from the session, and that is the end of this qualifying. Sami Nakler and his league racing return already claims a pole position, which is very, very interesting sight for the race. Drake Dempsey will start alongside him. And the 2nd row, we've got Tim Bayer and Quentin Hesh. Then we've got Arjen Bilbas, Thomas Grard, Ferry Wagner, McGinty, Moore, Chevalier, Mills, Pawlakovic, Ziemianczuk, Robertson, Lutinsky, Fegali, Wales, Nelson, Pan, Niemczyk. Just in case, as we're here already, you can invite your friends to the stream, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. Simple as that. And most of you in the polls said that Drake Dempsey is going to win. Well, with Sami Nakler joining and already putting in a great qualifying lap time, this is in question. Although Drake already says it's a skill issue of his. And the PC F1 should. Well, we're starting within a second. Before the race starts, I would like to make sure with your feedback in the chat that everything is alright with the sound settings and the display settings, as drivers have already readied up for whatever reason. As we are watching the strategy, Sami Nakler has decided currently to start on the mediums, but I believe everyone will switch to hards very, very shortly. Although most of the drivers decided to stay with the mediums. Anyway, we're starting the Azerbaijan Grand Prix at this very moment. Beautiful sunny weather around Baku. It's 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. And it's lights out, and away we go. Looks like Drake has got a decent start, but Sami Nakler covers up the inside to turn 1, and is going to keep the lead of this race. Team Bayer got involved in an incident with Quentin Hesh, and that makes the Ferrari lose all of the places. However, it's Sami Nakler who keeps the lead of the Grand Prix. However, Drake Dempsey is going for it. He's looking for a space to attack down the inside to turn 3. He's catching that slipstream of the Alpha Tauri. It's not on Richard though. Sami Nakler is weaving about a bit, and is about to keep the lead into Sector 2, probably. However, Jake is not going to give this one up. We remember his win in one of the other leagues in Austria, where he waited for plenty of laps and got that win in the Austrian Grand Prix of theirs. As you can see, Team Bayer also looking for a space to make a move on Drake himself. However, the castle section is not going to be the greatest idea for this one. So just comfortably stay behind. Hugo Nilsson making up all of the places onto 10th. Harry Wales losing into 19th. However, we're watching the top of the standing now, because this is where the championship is being fought, basically, with Jake Dempsey and Team Bayer fighting it for the teams to win the Constructors' Championship. And also Drake to get the Drivers' one. Looking in the back of the field though, as we'll stay with the front on the broadcast. However, there's plenty of position changes, and I can definitely name one, being Lucas McGinty, He lost 3 places, same applies to Thomas Gerard. Also, we know Quentin Hesh has lost all of the 16 of them. However, he looks like to be recovering already. You can see he's very, very close to higher wears, and I think if he has no wing damage, he's about to make a move on the Mercedes driver, making above the plates. Also, one of the drivers to get appreciated is definitely Hugo Nilsson, as Eric Jemenchuk looks like to go to the pit lane. No, that is McGinty. McGinty pits. And that is probably the front wing change. Niemczyk is out of the session already in lap 1, calling out a virtual safety car. This is yet another DNF to the tally of the Polish driver, who, just as a reminder, hasn't finished any race since season 6, and that was like 15 race starts since then. I don't know what's going on, but this time he probably missed the pit lane entry. As Quentin Hescher, at least he'll lose less time comparing to the normal racing conditions. Sami Naklek is still on the lead of the race, with also missed an overtake of Justin Chevalier made on Ferry Wagner. The virtual safety car probably will end right after the castle section made by Sami Naklek, I believe at least. I have a hope, because we want to go racing very, very shortly. As McGinty losing all of the 10 places as well. As we're already green, we're already going again. That was not the quickest virtual safety car. There's a carnage. There's Team Bayer out of this race. That was a very, very heavy crash of the McLaren driver. I've also seen Mercedes of George Park hitting the wall. However, this corner is definitely not liking the drivers. These drivers definitely don't like this section, as Team Bayer's yet another one crash out very, very heavily in this one. Let's just say that it was Team Liza or Elliot Parker, or actually we can put any name and it will be correct, crashing out of this section. And Team Bayer is yet another one to do so. As Ferry Wagner also is losing places. I don't know what drivers are doing here. However, Ferry makes Eric Jemenchuk to be very careful, forces to do so, as he probably went wide in the exit of turn 3 and lost the front wing in the process. Let me just confirm the information. No, he does not. He's just gone wide, probably. The only drivers who have not got any position changes being made compared to the qualifying position are top 2 and Joe Fegali. As Drake Dempsey will have DRS this time on Sami Naklek. We'll see if he's using any tactics in order to get the win of this race, or is he going to make a move as soon as possible? Because as you can see, Sami Naklek may have got a great lap in qualifying. However, in the race, he's not out of Drake, as Ferry Wagner is yet another one to be out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and this time he may actually call a safety car. However, the stewards might have wanted for Drake Dempsey to complete the move on Sami Naklek and take the lead of this Grand Prix. Actually, there will be no safety car. There is no race fixing in here, at least by the game. Like suggesting that something has been fixed in the league. It isn't. At least I don't fix the races of Ero or any of the administrators. Pretty sure there hasn't been any serious race fixing in a while, or ever in Ero, as we are in that topic. Top 4 has already gone seemingly by quite a massive margin ahead of the rest of the field. You can see Luke is 1.5 seconds already to Justin Chevalier in the 4th, who's chasing down Arjan Bilbas in the 3rd. However, that was a very heavy trash made by Team Bayern. I wonder if Arjan Bilbas passed him at any point, because it was very close situation between these two. George Parr is now racing Joe Fegali, by the way, in the midfield, as none of the drivers are now in the same places as they started the races in. And I think Joe Fegali is about to make a move on George, as George has gone a little bit wide, using the curb, and then being helped by Joe Fegali resetting to track, although. And that is a 10-second time penalty and 3 penalty points already. And I will not hesitate to report that, as in the front of the field, Jake Dempsey fought with Sami Nakla to defend the position, and he defended it successfully, so we'll probably go back to the front of the field. As Ferry Wagner said, us and the public, blow damage is what made him out of this race. By the way, if you've got a point of view of that incident, well, you can send it to me on the Discord. As Quentin Kesha sets at least a fastest up of the Grand Prix. If he finishes the race, he's going to get the point for it, as ERO regulations are slightly different than real Formula 1, so you can get a position point if you finish the race. Same applies for a fastest lap. Of course, that is when you finish the race, not in the wall or in the pits. As Jake Dempsey has already gone by over a second ahead of Sami Nakla. Sami Nakla has to use all of his DRS to have any chance of catching up to Drake's DRS. I think Jake Dempsey is now going for it, definitely. But the gap has been reduced to 0.8 of a second. None of the drivers use assists, and that includes line. Well, basically, this is what you do at the esports level. You don't use any assists. These two are definitely proving that. With Sami Nakla having DRS on Drake Dempsey, we'll probably not expect any fighting going on. This setup might have been for the straight line speed, as Sami Nakla is closing down on the Alfa Romeo using the esports slide, definitely. I don't know how he's doing it, because when I tried doing so, I basically kept spinning on the curb. Jim Anchuk now overtook Robertson for the points paying position, as Hugo Nilsson spun around on the pit lane exit. We haven't seen the tires as well, so this might be a very interesting one to check out. Hugo Nilsson indeed being the only driver on the softs. There's a couple of card runners. These include Lutinsky, Robertson, Moore, Nakla, and Dempsey. And of course Arjan Bilbas. The rest is on mediums, unless we cut down Fegali and Parr, because they both pitted for the hard tires now. As Luke Mills has officially called to Justin Chevalier, the Red Bull driver being in a great run of form after not a great start of the season. It all started to go well with Dutch Grand Prix, as the Lutinsky's out as well in the castle section, and this time he goes out the full safety car. We can actually start doing a prediction game of how many drivers are going to finish the race, because it's yet another DNF into the account. Well, Quentin Kesha may be happy about that one, as he's going now to catch up to the rest of the field. Same applies for Fegali, Parr, and McGinty. Most of the drivers in PSF1 tier, which is going to start in 1.5 hours time, are already concerned about the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Seeing the amount of DNFs, well, they've got the basis to be concerned about, as even the Season 8 champion, Aurelien Epenru, well, is already concerned about not finishing the race today and hopes for just any points in the standings. As he needs to extend his championship lead somewhat. He was having a dominant performance in the US Grand Prix, as we were speaking about all the TS. Finishing first with pole position. And Jensen Rundle, who's chasing him in the championship, has finished on the 3rd. So that made the gap worth of 12 points. Marvin Moore is now letting past for whatever reason Sami Nakla. Snapper's Farin Bilbas has also been losing places. Also, for your team, well, this wall has already got a couple of drivers and finished the races. Also not sure what is really going on, but this is definitely very interesting as the top 3 drivers are the only ones yet to pit. Well, basically there is no point in pitting for these 3. But I wonder why is Marvin Moore ahead of Sami Nakle of all reasons we can get. The only chance for the positions to be reinstated are basically Marvin going off track. A couple of drivers have got already the new hard compounds and looks like they will go and finish the race on them. Arnie and Bimbas and Fraser Robertson are going for the very risky strategy of the medium tire compound, which may be a winner or maybe a massive loser for them. Losing play for them, as it all comes down to if they will survive on the compound. But with one more lap of the safety car action at least, they're definitely going to have less tire wear on the tires. The only issue is they will have them colder. And I also wonder if this is going to be the only safety car of this race, as there was no race with more than one safety car out on track. And Pc F1 tier, at least. Marvin Moore has reinstated the 3rd place. He's got to be 4 on the safety car. Also, as I probably didn't say, but definitely told you a little bit of an information, the new prediction game is now on in the YouTube stream chat. You can vote for how many drivers will finish the race today, because with 4 DNFs within 6, not even 6 racing laps, there's definitely going to be some more. We have to also include the ones that will go to the pits because of rear wing damage, pit lane damage, floor damage, or something like this. As Lutinsky indeed confirmed that he locked up into the castle section. The pole is being closed, not that right after the safety car leaves, so let's say like when Drake and Sami pit, one of them, let's see that one, as yet another piece of mess, as safety car is in this lap. I don't know what Marvin Moore is doing, however, a bit of playing with Sami Nakla is very, very interesting. Drake Dempsey will lead the safety car race. Don't tell me Quentin Hesher has got no front wing in the meantime. He does not, and his best chance to get back to the rest of the field is ruined with this one. As Drake Dempsey about to restart the race, however the safety car has not come in yet, so we're going to wait quite a massive amount of time. He's giving it everything in terms of throttle, but still on the 2nd gear as we're about to restart the Grand Prix. Bernd Miranda is already in the pits. Drake Dempsey goes now, and it looks like he caught Sami Nakle napping, and this also applies to Marvin Moore, who's going to be attacked by Justin Chevalier into turn 1. Same place for Thomas Grart, who's attacking Luke Mills for position number 5 in the meantime. Quentin Hesher gets a 5-second penalty for spinning in the pit lane. However, he knows there may be more safety cars during this race, as George Parr loses the position to Lucas Magenti as well. Marvin Moore Still on the third, however, it's Arjen Bilbas on the fresh medium tires, going for a massive dive. Or it is massively late braking compared to Thomas Grart, which places him currently on position number 6. There's a yellow flag, and that is Rick Dempsey losing off the places, and probably a bit of front wing as well. Disaster for the Alfa Romeo driver. The leader of the championship is having problems in Baku and has to pit for the new front wing and medium tires throughout the rest of the race. Not the greatest news for the Alfa Romeo. Sami Nakle now leads the Azerbaijan Grand Prix ahead of his countryman Marvin Moore, who is having all of the group of drivers behind him. Justin Chevalier chasing him down. Same place to Luke Mills, Arjen Bilbas on the medium tires. He's definitely going to make a move on Luke Mills very soon. However, Luke Mills cut the corner severely to turn 15, and this lets Arjen Bilbas to make a move on the Red Bull driver. Quite not, because he's lost the car, he's lost the rear end a little bit. Saved it though, and this makes him lose not only to Luke Mills, but also to Thomas Grart, and he's back in the 6th place where he restarted. Actually, he started in the 7th, but we also have to include Drake Dempsey. Nilsson is in the wall, but Lacey survived, and there's going to be a free wide between Roberts and Ziemianchuk and Pavlakovic, nearly at least, as Joe Fegali now jumps into the points paying position, with Lucas Magenti making a move on Harry Wells as well. Ziemianchuk with a great performance so far with 8th place, but he's going to lose one to Fraser Robertson on the fresh medium tires. And that is position number 8 for the Aston Martin driver, as Arjen Bilbas again makes a move on Thomas Grart and is back into 5th place. Where's Rick Dempsey, if you're wondering? He's still on the position number 13 and refused to pit. And is going to fight with Harry Wells in the meantime. I'm trying to remember when was the last performance of a driver with a damaged front wing and still going. I believe it may have been Charles Leclerc, but I cannot exactly remember which race it was back in 2022. We speak about the real Formula 1 action, of course. That was British Grand Prix. Where Leclerc basically stayed out with a damaged front wing on the hard tires. Also best race of that season. This is probably what Drake Dempsey is doing, but not in terms of defensive drive, but recovery drive, if possible, with the front wing damage. As Justin Chevalier chasing down Marvin Moore for position number 2. He knows there is a chance to even maybe make a win in today's race. DRS is enabled, so he'll definitely have a chance to make a move into turn 2. Even though we have to consider that Marvin Moore has DRS of Sami Nakle, which will help him a little bit. But I think with the amount of ERS Justin Chevalier has got, it's not going to be easy for Marvin to defend that 2nd place. Thankfully for him, Justin does not make a move just yet into turn 3. And he'll be looking for better opportunities later in the race. Probably maybe even same lap, but on the longer stretch. Fraser Robertson is chasing down Pavlakovic in position number 7. We may see some quite unexpected results. The fact that Ziemianchuk and Fegali are in the points. Sami Nakle, straight up from the break, is already into the 1st place. We know that he has to pit. But also Thomas Grart in the 6th, who, as far as I'm aware, has not scored points just yet in this season, or maybe little ones. My informations are correct, 0 points so far this season, he's already on the 6th. Also, cannot deny that Luke Mills has a chance to win today, of all people. Same applies to Arjen Bilbas. This may be the race with one of the most unpredictable results of all time in F1 22 game. Maybe even in the entire history in Ero. As Chevalier completed the move on Marvin Moore even before the DRS. But Marvin is going to fight this one back. Down the inside he goes. That was probably very, very close from the touch. It was very, very close from the touching distance. But it all went clean, fortunately, as our Bilbas fights Thomas Grad will to will into turn 2. That is very risky from both of these drivers. However, Arjan Bilbas pulls himself just ahead of Thomas Grad. Quentin Heshe with the fastest lap of this race so far, 41.5. Will probably sooner than later go into 40s with Drake and Sami pitting. Maybe late safety car, although I would not like to see this one today. With all, well, there was little drama in US Grand Prix. However, there was more in the Canadian Grand Prix with Daniel Gottschalk and Ferry Van Laar colliding on the final lap and losing all the places. They were going for second and third, just to remind you, back in the Canadian Grand Prix. As Luke Mills is also very, very close to Marvin. And I believe, as Marvin is already out of DRS, these two drivers have already got a slight clash in the Bahrain Grand Prix. Well, they're fighting again. And this time Marvin Moore is making little to no problems for Luke Mills as the Red Bull driver goes up into the third place. Jemenchuk overtaken by Joe Fegali. Both of them are racing in PCF2. Jemenchuk suffered a heavy crash yesterday with Mateusz Pawełczak by misjudging the intentions of the Haas driver. As Marvin Moore is also losing a place to Thomas Grart in the process. Not only Luke Mills, not only Arjan Bilbas, also Thomas Grart. And Fraser Robertson goes for it on Klub Pawlakovic. Two PCF2 reserve drivers are out of the DRS distance, so Klub Pawlakovic may be safe for a lap or two. However, Joe Fegali is catching very, very quickly. Luckily clips the lead of the race, but it doesn't look like he's going to lose it, unlike Marvin's second place. As Justin Chevalier is already out of DRS, and he has to use some of his ERSs. Simon Nackler, for comparison, has got 63%. Justin has got like 38%. Surprisingly, no drivers have retired from the race, although just about, because Justin Chevalier has hit the wall. No drivers have crashed out of the race, as of Lutinsky's latest crash. There was Quentin Heshe without a front wing, and I don't know the reasons for that one. But no DNF so far since the safety car. Mills is chasing down Justin Chevalier. He knows this potentially is for the race win, which may be the first one since season 6, which was a very, very long time ago. It was back in the year of 2021. Luke Mills back then, looking at the standings, finished 6th, and he's now going for a move on Justin Chevalier in the meantime. As I was looking it up, Justin Chevalier now loses the provisional lead of this race to the Red Bull driver. Speaking of whom, Luke Mills has never won a race in Ero, Pc F1 at least. Because in Pc F2, where he happened to race 3 times, he's won in China. But no race wins in Pc F1. There were podiums, but no race wins. And this is the golden chance for him. As long as Arjan Bilbas does not make a move on Justin Chevalier, does not make a move on Luke Mills himself. Yellow flags are caused by high wires on the last place. You can see in the sector 3. As Marvin Moore has already lost 2 seconds to Thomas Grart on the 5th place, making Fraser Robertson lose plenty of time to his teammate. as Arjen Bilbas is chasing down Justin Chevalier as well. Justin Chevalier has got that bit of DRS, but on the meantime, Sami Nakla also goes to the pit. Arjen Bilbas feels faster, seems faster, all the DRS straight cover does not make a move on Justin. Was very, very close from sending it, as Marvin Moore pits as well. Drake Dempsey is now up into 10th. Not the greatest performance for the Alfa Romeo driver. So far as Arjen Bilbas goes for it on the Alpine driver, goes for position number 2 of this race. And this is the massive chance for him to maybe even fight for the race win with Luke Mills. This is the fight for the race win. You can see Luke Mills, first win in his Ero career. Arjen Bilbas, first win since season 7. Justin Chevalier and Thomas Grout in their short Ero career so far, also the first wins, although Justin could already celebrate a podium result. Fraser Roberts, who has never been on a podium at PCF1, as he's started midway through the season 7 here in Ero. Don't tell me Arjen Bilbas is out of the session. It was just weird ghosting system. Whew. That was very, very close. Coming back to Fraser Robertson, he's also the driver who has not got that race win, and not even a podium. Will Pawlakovic as well. No race wins to his account. There were plenty of podiums. The closest one he was to a win was losing a 10th to Irvin Curtin in Australia in season 8. And also, Joe Fegali with Eric Jemenchuk, PCF2 reserves, are not that far from it. It all depends how quickly Sami Nakla is going to catch, and if Bilbas's and Robertson's tires are going to survive. Jeff Fegali doesn't really gain plenty of time as Luke Mills is already over a second ahead of Arjen Bilbas in this race. Not the greatest strategy decision could have been from Sami and Drake and Marvin, which puts them all down out of the points paying position. We also have to consider Drake going to the pits, and this time Sami Nakla would be in the points once Drake pits for the fresh medium compound. But Drake looks fast to make a move on track on Eric Dziemianczuk. With his damaged front wing, this is going to be a bit of more of a struggle. However, he's got great exit compared to the Polish driver and goes for it on the inside before the castle section. And also Lucas McGinty, what a move! Very, very close from a disaster, and they both clashed. Lucas McGinty, 10-second time penalty for him, and a full safety car is being deployed. George Parr with another reset. But again, no front wing for the Mercedes. As a reminder for George Parr not to use reset to track function, as Harwell is also a drive-through penalty for spinning under the safety car. There was definitely controversies. I genuinely thought Lucas McGinty is pulling a move of the year. Found a gap that did not really exist, but found one. As all of the drivers, bar Luke Mills, starting with the second place, are going to the pits, and I definitely see some mess going on. Dziemianczuk, was it a crossing of the line? Maybe by just a little, as Sami Nakla rejoins the track on position number 2. And with this full safety car being deployed, does it mean... Also, George Parr, why is still going? You've got no front wing at all. And he ends up losing a position to Marvin Moore, which should have been given back to the Mercedes driver. We'll be focusing on the front row as Luke Mills' first career win is fading away. With Sami Nakla being right behind him, also Arjen Bilbas. There will be plenty of drivers on the mediums. We can see George Parr, who also has to go to the pits. And I wouldn't be surprised if he genuinely missed braking point into the pit lane. Is the only one out of the chasing group not to have medium tires. Also, there is Quentin on the sauce, I need to point out. As Wales is out in the pit lane. He's not moving though. Although I seen him visiting the pit lane. That was the pit lane. Traditional DNF. Calling it the day. There's plenty of action in Baku so far. Like, well done Baku, you're doing it again. And that is the 5th DNF of today. And as I said, we have to close down the poll. Most of you have decided, have predicted that Wales' retirement might be also the only one. You can definitely get your friends involved in this into watching this race, because this is like peak entertainment. As George Parr goes to the pit lane, Drake Dempsey also goes to the pit lane. I don't know for whatever reason. Is he changing? He's changing his front wing quite yet again. Disaster for the Alfa Romeo driver so far, but I think Drake is definitely making it back to the points. This race. As Hugo Nilsson gets past ahead of George Parr and Drake Dempsey into position number 13. So now we've got only one hard runner, and this and the name of him is Luke Mills. We've also got one soft runner. His name is George Parr. The rest is on the mediums. And I'm wondering who's going to win this race, because at this point everyone can. It's not like we've got 2 or 3 favorites going miles ahead of everyone. It may be Luke Mills if he holds up the medium tire as well. It may be Sami Nakle if he gets back to his qualifying pace. It may be Arjen Bilbas if he sends it. You cannot predict a race winner at this stage. And I don't know for what reason, but George Parr is giving the position back to Drake. There's definitely going to be some action in Baku and the final remaining laps. As the safety car is in this lap. As Luke Mills now leads the safety car restart. He knows his first career win is on the line here. He needs to watch out for Sami Nakle though. And the final 8 racing laps, potentially 8 racing laps, because we don't know what may happen. And the final couple of rounds around Baku City Circuit, Luke Mills goes even slower than Drake Dempsey on the safety car restart. And he's going to hold it for a massive amount of time, as he's going now. So we didn't wait for quite long, and the straight is going to be very, very long. There may be even position changes that will be asked to be given back in the next couple of seconds. Luke Mills leads the safety car restart as Sami Nakle goes to block Arjen Bilbas a little bit, not to allow him to make any move on the inside of turn 1, as Arjen Bilbas goes for it regardless and makes it stick there side by side. And Thomas Grant may be joining this one too, but Arjen Bilbas makes it into the second place. Yellow flags already for Hugo Nilsson. Sami Nakle fights back down the inside to turn 3, as Sami is now ahead of the Ferrari, but this is not over yet. Arjen Bilbas is side by side with him into turn 4. No contact there, very respectful racing so far. And Arjen Bilbas, I believe, is ahead of the Lebanese driver in the second place, and maybe is going to chase down that race win. But remember, both of the drivers are already a second, over a second behind Luke Mills, which does not make their lives the most comfortable just yet. As Quentin Hesh disaster is again for him, as he's this time only spun around. I don't think he's got any wing damage, but for the Ferrari driver, it's quite a disaster, because you could see him now having his front wing go off completely, calling out a virtual safety car yet again. What is this race here in Baku? Luke Mills may be safe about his lead for at least a couple more corners. He knows he's not going to be caught by Aryan or Sami in the next couple of corners or straights. But this race is already a beauty. Unpredictable. Completely. Apart from Quentin Hesse crashing to the wall 15 times. And it's already green! It's already green, and Luke Mills leads the safety car restart. George Park gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under virtual safety car and has to serve it as soon as possible within 3 racing laps in order not to get disqualified. And he's going for this probably right now. Yes, that is true. As Quentin Hesse is also going to the pit lane to change his front wing. Dempsey makes a move on Robertson. Joe Fegali is losing a couple of places in the process. And the American driver is chasing down the rest of the field. As Ryan Grobb's biggest concern in terms of the Constructors' Championship, Jake Dempsey, has been having plenty of troubles throughout this race. 2 week changes throughout this one. Not the greatest day for the Alfa Romeo. Still 4 points in the championship is something, but not something that would make him comfortable for the rest of the season. With the top 3, you can see Luke Mills lost his all lead already to Arjan Bilbas and Sami Nakla. Just don't fight in the castle section, please. As we're laps. Oh, it's this time it's Ciemiańczuk out of the race. And guess what? In the castle section, same as Lutinsky, and this time it's a full safety car. Can this race never end? Because we're already having top tier entertainment when it comes to league racing. I wonder if Luke Mills is going to go to the pits this time for soft ice. No, he stays out. Maybe a driver like Nilsson go to the pits. Or Fraser Robertson, who could see is approaching the pit lane. Lucas Magenti, Joe Fegali are also approaching the pit lane. I wonder how about Hugo Nilsson. He's also going to the pits as well. Slowing down. He knows Luke Mills is not into the pits. And this time he got to the pit lane without any double stack. Well, we know how much Hugo Nilsson has been sacrificing in terms of the tire strategy. Remember him going last week on the slicks on a clearly wet circuit of the Americas. Mainly for Luke Mills to make a check on his tires. If it's dry enough for the slicks to be better. Hugo Nilsson and Quentin Hesse have both pitted for the softs. And Quentin Hesse, congratulations for missing the braking point. Was your only task was your only job was to go slowly enough. But I think he's going to catch up with the next lap, maybe. Red Bull driver of Hugo Nilsson and Quentin Hesse, the Ferrari driver, are the only ones who are waiting for in the safety car queue, and you can see Luke Mills is definitely trying to tell Bergman to go a little bit faster. Because he probably wants as many safety car laps as possible in order to secure his win. By the way, if anyone here doesn't know the game mechanics, safety car must go into the pit lane early enough to allow 2 racing laps. Regardless of how many safety cars, how severe was the accident, regardless of whatever happens, Bernd Maylander has to go to the pit lane early enough to allow 2 racing laps. However, Baku is the exception. I don't know how to pronounce a basic English word. Anyway, Baku is kind of a glitch because there were 2 situations in Ero history where the safety car came out on the penultimate lap and only allowed 1 racing lap. Max Verstappen's fans would be delighted if it was the case, and if Max Verstappen was, for example, second right now. You only need 1 racing lap. However, the game does not allow us to see anything anymore. We have to get 2 of them at least. As there will be no chance that the safety car comes in and this is the end of the race as well. Just for your information. Can we get the safety car this race? I mean, if we restart now, and for example, one of the drivers, I don't want that to happen, but let's say one of the drivers crashes out into the last corner, which is a flat out one. Bernd Maylander on lap 23 may still go out and get another lap. We don't want that to happen though, as Luke Mills possibly leading the last safety car of this race. This is the first Ero race in PC F1 this season where we're having more than just 1 full safety car being deployed. And we believe it is the last one, as Luke Mills is also going to use the same tactic as recently, going slowly as possible in order to catch Arjan Bilbas and Sami Napping, because this may be the most important race for the entire top 7. Drake may just add another win to his tally. However, the top 7, it's still a chance. It's a chance for everyone to win the race. Drake Dempsey is the only PCF1 winner of this grid this season. And alongside him, there's only Arjan Bilbas who has ever won a race. As we're restarting the race now, Luke Mills did not catch Arjan Bilbas napping, as the Ferrari driver is only 2 tenths behind Luke Mills, and this is not enough for the Red Bull driver to secure the lead for at least the next lap of this race. Definitely for the first corner though, as Drake Dempsey goes around the outside of Kurt Pawlakovic, chasing down the rest of the field already. And next step is Justin Chevalier for him, as Thomas Grad has gone wide, and this time has been crushed out by Marvin Moore, but it was most likely his unsafe rejoin, losing him off the places, and it will be still no points for him in the Ero career. Unlucky ending to the race for the Aston Martin driver, as Marvin Moore is already on the 4th. Luke Mills being chased down by Arjan Bilbas. This is the fight we're watching, because Arjan Bilbas has the chance for his first race win since season 7. Luke Mills for the first ever race win in the Ero Pc F1, and these 2 drivers for the last 3.5 laps will be going for it fully. Also, don't forget, Sami Nakle also no race wins. Marvin Moore also no race wins. Yellow flag being caused by Kurt Pawlakovic and Lucas McGinty before the castle section. Luke Mills is probably the luckiest driver on the entire planet, because the Williams called out yet another safety car. I said I believe this was the last one, and we're having yet another one. Crazy action around Baku, that is. And I think we'll be getting 2 racing laps anyway. Thomas Grad and Kurt Pawlakovic are probably safe. And I think Gunnarsson also has wing damage. He doesn't. Jeff Gali? Nothing. Because McGinty. I couldn't see a thing. So basically it's Kurt Pawlakovic and Thomas Grad having issues with the car. Is anyone going to the pit lane apart from these two? Magenti is. We're gonna listen to that too. They will be on the soft tires 100%. Unless someone does a Ferrari pit lane strategy. Pit stop strategy, sorry. They were on the softs already, but they're going for the newer ones, just to make sure. Because Magenti goes for the mediums though. I know what's the reason behind that. Quill goes for the softs, as the 4 trials have pitted during this safety car. I think we're just having 2 racing laps, not just 1, like I said about. This is possible in Baku, but it doesn't happen too often. As the amount of tension in this race is already very, very high. Luke Mills, first race win of all places in Baku. This may be a special day for him. Same applies for Sami Nakla, coming back to league racing and already chasing the first race win. He was a pole sitter for today's race, but he started on the hard tires and on the first safety car. He did not pit from these hards and basically lost all the places after his regular pit stop. But he's also back to have a chance as well. Who's going to win this one? That is the question. If Quill Power Coach waits long enough, we might have 1 racing lap. I don't think that's happening. It isn't. This is the last safety car definitely of today. Luke Mills, it's yet another safety car restart. If there were no safety cars, he would be probably enjoying the race win already. As the Red Bull driver, lifetime chance. Drake Dempsey only on the 6th place. There's only 2 race winners on the grid, as I said, just a lap before. As Luke Mills warms up his tires throughout the entire width of the track. Just make sure you don't exceed the track limits accidentally, if there's any possibility. He goes very, very slowly to make sure all of the tires of the other medium runners and soft runners go cold. Sami Nakla is nearly side by side with Arian. Arian is also side by side with Luke Mills. We've got going. There's green flag already. We're racing again. Figari makes a move on McGinty. Drake Dempsey has to wait on the move on Chevalier, but Aryan Bilbas goes for the lead of the Azerbaijan Group around the outside into turn 1. However, he fails to do so. Luke Mills spins round, and that is the disaster for the Red Bull, who got the chance for the race. And Justin Chevalier is using it all to take the lead of this race, having a bit of a touch with Aryan Bilbas. Drake Dempsey making all of the places throughout the safety car restart in the final 2 laps of this race. Justin Chevalier, of all people, is now leading this Grand Prix, as Aryan Bilbas would probably definitely send it on Drake into the inside of turn 3, maybe a little bit of a touch. However, Justin Chevalier has an open chance of winning for the first time in the Ero career out of the most dramatic circumstances for Luke Mills. Disaster for the Red Bull, who was having a fantastic chance for the race win and has been spun around, maybe even by Aryan Bilbas himself. And that means Justin Chevalier has got a clear chance of winning today. It all is down to this. I've got just 1.5 laps. One of the Aston Martins made a move onto Williams. That was probably Robertson McGinty or the other way around. Jake Dempsey is also chasing Arion. We've seen track extension from Quentin Heshe probably, who's also having a recovery drive of his life from last at lap 1 to 5th now. But Jake Dempsey is not going to give up any championship points. Even after all of his troubles, he's got 2 wing damages today. He's still on the podium places, as Robertson fights again with McGinty. However, we're looking at the front. Justin Chevalier, of all people, on the way to win his Grand Prix. 7 tenths ahead of Aryan Bilbas and 9 tenths ahead of Drake Dempsey. However, it's not over yet, at least for the Alfa Romeo driver, who's right behind Aryan. He's getting that slipstream of the Ferrari driver, and he's definitely going to send one down the inside. No, he's losing time to Aryan Bilbas. He's losing the touching distance to make a move. Sami Nakla is already a second behind Drake, so we don't even consider him for the race win. Marvin Williams also lost all the places, dropped all the way to P13. As McGinty is also losing places, he spun round, basically. And drops to the last place. Arjan Bilbas has to defend from Drake more than thinking of making a move on Justin Chevalier. However, the gap is just 4 tenths. It might be down to the final straight. We remember what happened in Season 2, for example, when Jordan and Luke Sholtith have got a massive, massive crash on the final straight, on the final lap of this race, of that race in PSF1 TF, for example. That was the championship fight defining moment. The Arjan Bilbas nearly goes removed. Down the inside, spins Justin Chevalier around, and guess what? Drake Dempsey, after all of the troubles, well, Arjan Bilbas is not having the greatest couple of laps on the last laps of this race. Well, 2 incidents with Luke Mills and this time Justin Chevalier being robbed basically of the race win, is now out of the point. And of all people, it's Drake Dempsey who is going to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Of all the drama, of all the controversy, of all the magic moments, as David Croft has got the commentary lines of Abu Dhabi 2021 Grand Prix, of all the beauty of the sport, Drake Dempsey is about to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And head of Sami Nakle, Arjan Bilbas, and Quentin Hesh. 2 of the most fantastic recovery drives of all time. With Drake last with 2 wing damages to first. And Heshe with 2 wing damages at least, because we don't know more, to the race win. Sorry, 4th place. Not that great for Quentin, but still one of the most dramatic races of the season. However, Arjan Bilbas is definitely under investigation for that one, as George Parisi is reported for reset to track, but at least he's getting penalty point at least. One of the most chaotic races of Azerbaijan Grand Prix of this season in Ero. Definitely. We've got how many leaders of the race we've got today? Drake, Sami, Luke Mills, Marvin, basically at one point, definitely. Justin. Maybe got like 7 different race leaders today. But definitely plenty of people will not be satisfied with the race result. Well, Arjan Bilbas may be out of the podium within a day or 2. It depends when Rabbi Chmelka makes a steward report. However, these are the official race results. Already apologize, Arjan, I can see. It's Drake, Sami, Arjan, Quentin, Fraser. Who got nurse with the best carry result of 6? Thomas Grant of all people made points. Marvin Moore, after spinning, also got into the the 10th place. What was this race? Seriously. There will be a press conference with the top 3, so that is Drake, Sami, and Arjan. However, I think Quentin Heshe may be going for a podium spot. 7 pit stops! Are you crazy? That is one of the weirdest races of all time in the history of European Race Organization. This is 100% confirmed, and I'm saying this right now. I'm declaring this one. What on earth this was? I never. This is for the another story. This is for the another story. Yes, we're getting Drake into the conference room.
No, honestly.
Again, I just moved you without even notifying.
I couldn't do anything more than that.
And you won.
Somehow, I don't know.
That was one of the most chaotic races in the entire history. Is it right?
Probably.
Because how many times have you got wing damage? Twice?
Well, I don't know. I only got it once, but yeah, I was just chaos either from the internet side of things or just chaos and plain chaos. I mean, it was just, I don't even know what to say about that. I was hectic. But yeah, I mean, I just locked my tire up under the safety car and restart and died. So it was a shame, but yeah, I mean, I just stuck it out waiting for a safety car and luckily I got one.
basically, I don't know what happened in here, and definitely there is going to be plenty of steward reports in this race, as for example, Justin is definitely reporting Ariana, I guess. But have you got any reports before we end this before we end this stream, like very quickly?
What do you mean?
Are you filing any reports on anyone?
Well, my I don't know what's gone on my stream, so I didn't stream, had no sound, so, and my GE Force thing, I mean, I don't have any reason to report anyone, but like it was just not opening either, so I couldn't record. But I mean, I don't have anyone to report. Sure, if someone has a reason to report me, but all I'm gonna say is that it was either desync or just the game being odd, just glitching everywhere.
Yep.
I mean, that was chaotic. I didn't think I'd be getting it back up there. I was lucky to get a point, top 5. So I'm still kind of like, I don't even know what just happened. Still chaotic.
Yep.
I wouldn't have been able to pass Ariane. My straight line speed wasn't very good, so I would have been in P3 if, well, the last lap incident didn't happen, and I locked up and managed to avoid that incident. If I didn't lock up a bit, then I probably would have hit him too.
Yep. And I believe with just you as a race winner, we're ending this stream and the press conference as well. But that was definitely one of the most dramatic races in the entire history of Ero. With like everyone was able to get a win today, and it went to the favorite of the title of the Drivers' Championship. Drake Dempsey is your winner. Is it the 4th time in a row? It is, definitely. With adding on top of that the race wins in US and Canada. It's the 3rd one, to be honest, to be clear. It would have been 6 if it wasn't for Austria. But yeah, the gap in the championship is very comfortable already. 25 points on the board. That is 90 points ahead of Tony Rishi already. Nearly twice as much. And yeah, that's it for today. Make sure to tune in for the PSF1 Grand Prix in half an hour time, as the PlayStation drivers are also going to race in the background. I also see either like 100% boring race or just pure action throughout the entire Grand Prix and pure chaos, like just here in PCF1. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next week in the British Grand Prix. Also, don't forget about the PlayStation F1 Grand Prix.